Hello guys, so today I bought a new controller for my laptop, so I could mainly to play Pro Evolution Soccer 6 and then 5 and 4 and 3 for the different seasons. I was using an old PS4 controller. The problem I had with that is the right analog stick had a little bit of drift to the left, so I couldn't use the full controls for like all the tricks and the manual pass, stuff like that, because I had to switch it off. Because it just made automatic passes when I didn't want them to make it, basically. Really annoying. So I bought another controller. Long story short, I did buy a PS3 one, like a knockoff PS3 one. That seemed virtually impossible to set up for laptop, so I might keep that for if I get another PS3 at some point in the future. And instead I plumped for this one here, which is the NYK Nemesis. I believe it is the, let me see the name on the back here, it is the Rouge GP-200. So I've seen lots of reviews of this controller on YouTube, all of them in Bahasa Indonesia language, and so I'm going to make an English version of a review so that if people want to look at it in English, they can do. So I bought this off of Tokopedia, and the shop I bought it from, the guy in Surabaya did not have the yellow controller, because I wanted the yellow one, because I like the look of it. They also come in white and black as well, and so basically he didn't have it. Quick WhatsApp back and forth, and they got it sent straight from the supplier in Jakarta, which was cool. They also came with these bonus items, so there's like a little sticker, another sticker, they have the little usual card and thank you note, and a little keyring, which is quite cool. So thank you for that, guys. I will put the Selasai and the Ulasan later on once I test this thing out. But I thought I would do a kind of unboxing and review in English, so if anyone wants to see it, they can see how it works. So obviously it's out of its packaging it arrived in when it came. It was just, you take the black packaging off, and this was inside with the extra stuff on the top. So let's crack into this and see what we can get with it. So this is going to be like a kind of live video. So straight off the bat, we have floating around the top a USB Type-C charging cable. Cats are going mental, so that one's good. No controller then, unfortunately. And then also in the box we have, now empty as you can see, there is also the well, apart from the usual books and shiz, yeah, which is quite big. The box is now empty, so we can put that aside. Anything interesting in the manual, it opens up quite wide, yeah. And we've got one side is instructions, quick guide, product description, how to connect, all that kind of stuff in Bahasa or Indonesia on one side, and then in English on the other. So if you love a good manual to read, obviously maybe better manuals out there, but the controller itself comes in this little bag, and it is thus. Whoa, there we go. So here is the controller itself, yeah. Okay, so there's the front, top, back, and sides, yeah. It feels, I've got my PS4 controller here, it feels a little bit lighter than a PS4 controller. I don't know if there's a weight in grams anywhere. No. So it does mention here that as you see, it's USB Type-C charging, and it does have a 600 milliamp hour battery, which I believe lasts around about 2 hours according to the manual. Let me see so yeah. Okay, so yeah, about 2 hours use, maybe 10 hours standby. And apparently it's compatible with PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation and Android. No Xbox, funnily enough, despite its close resemblance. So yeah, a bit weird that one. So got LEDs here. As I say, it does feel a bit lighter than a normal controller. So what I'm going to do is feel the buttons. Yep, clicks are fine, sticks are perfectly fine. I think they feel a little bit more loose than a PlayStation controller, the PS4 controller. They move a bit easier. The click's fine. It feels good. Oh, the D-pad's a bit tough, a bit spongy, I guess. Not quite like the precision of the PS4 controller on the D-pad there, but I think the idea of this is you do use this analog stick for movement as opposed to this one. So if you're selecting items in a game, you might have to give it a good push to make sure you select it. Top buttons are okay, and there's quite a bit of sponginess in the rear buttons, but I think they're probably okay. You kind of make sure you have to push it down, I guess. There are bonus buttons here, like a turbo button and the home button and stuff. Probably not going to use them with PES 6 because it wasn't really any use for that, really. But yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to now kind of jump cut, as it were, to having the controller set up, and then I will briefly explain how easy that was, and I'll play a little game as well and give you guys feedback on how that went as well. Okay, so we will be back in a minute. The first part of this review is going to be based around the wired connection to the controller. You can see the cable here, yeah. The lights are on, there we go. So the bottom light is the charging, and the top three lights I believe would be the position of the controller in the port. If you remember the PS3 controller, it had the 4 lights on the top to show you which port it was. It's a similar feature to that, I would believe. And it's gone into 2 because I already have my other PS4 controller connected to this. I feel I'm going to remove that one from my laptop though. So, playing a game, one full match with the controller. I did Leeds v Sunderland 2002-2003 season, for those wondering, and it ended 0-0. Although I have paused it to keep the sound down. Others could just mute the sound, I guess. But it's 0-0. The controller, the buttons are good. On the face of the controller, responsive. I mentioned the spongy D-pad earlier on. It felt a bit stiff. When you play the game, you don't notice that as much, to be honest, and it seems to work quite well, I would say. When I plugged the controller in, I did have to map all the buttons because the automatic button mapping was a little bit weird. It had like face buttons on the top of the controller and things like that. So if you are playing a game on PC, make sure that you map the buttons correctly. I'm not going to connect this to console, so I don't know how it would work for that. I imagine it's probably okay. But yeah, I think overall, connected by the USB cable, the controller works pretty well. Couple of points I will add. The R1, R2, L1, L2 buttons on the top of the controller, or LT, RT, and then LB, RB if you're Xbox. The front of those buttons are very clicky. So if you are in a quiet environment, you will hear those buttons when you press them down. As some of you may know, Pro Evolution Soccer used to use the R1 button for sprinting, and if you're constantly tapping it to go forward, as the PS2 games of the time had, it is going to go. I can show you an example maybe. So I don't know if it's going to do anything with my game because it is paused, but if you click it, it does make an audible click. Yeah. So if you're sprinting, you will hear that kind of noise. Yeah. The RT or the back buttons are working okay, I would say. A little bit travel, not as good as maybe a PS2 controller. The back buttons on those, the R2, L2 on a PS2 controller. It's just the sponginess, I guess, of it, and the game not made for that kind of controller, possibly. But I think if you're playing a shooting game like Apex Legends or Call of Duty, you're probably okay with those buttons because it's just more natural, I guess, and you can control the travel as well, which is good, I think. Maybe something to test, I guess. I'm going to pause this video again and then jump cut again after I have used the controller in the Bluetooth mode, so I can give a feedback on both the wired and the wireless connections. I would say when I plugged the controller in to the USB cable, it connected automatically. I didn't have to do anything. It takes maybe 5-10 seconds to read and then connect, and then it's just go instantly from there. So I will come back in a moment with the feedback from the wireless connection, if there is any difference. Although I can't imagine there would be lag and that kind of thing, yeah. So here we go, and we will break again. Okay guys, I've played a little bit with the controller on the wireless setting, as you can see. Not too difficult to control or to get to connection. It does seem to have this LED going up and down constantly though. I don't know if it's meant to do that, I'm guessing so, but if you're maybe in a dark room, that could be distracting in your eye line possibly, maybe something to think about. But it connected up, it appeared on the Bluetooth as Pro controller, so yeah, if you pair it up with Bluetooth, it does work. It's all about using and holding down the home button in the middle, this one here, hold that down, the lights will go up and down like that, and then if you go to add Bluetooth device, I went to the top one where you maybe add like Bluetooth mice or keyboards or stuff on Windows 10. That connects up fine, you click it, it connects. You can press it up and down on the D-pad to check if it's worked by moving stuff around. And yeah, I think it feels pretty much the same. I don't notice any noticeable lag in the game. Online, I don't know because I'm obviously playing an offline game. But I would say, yeah, it's a good controller for the price of it. So talking of price, I paid about 175,000 rupiah, which I think is just under £10, I believe, around the £10, £9 mark. In US dollars, that's probably about, I don't know, $11 to $12 maybe, possibly more. I'm not going to spend time doing conversion. If you put the 175,000 IDR into Google and then convert it to your currency, it will give you a display of roughly how much it should be. Although I will say guys, I have seen them online for like 300,000 rupiah and like a little bit under half the price. Or like double the price. Half would be less, yeah. So, yeah. Overall, I would give this controller maybe a 9 out of 10, I would say. It does what it's meant to do. I'm not noticing any issues at all with it. The only way that I would make it lose points is it is feeling a little bit light, so it maybe doesn't quite have that premium feel that a lot of people are looking for, although it is quite a cheap price controller. So don't expect like Microsoft level build quality and stuff. Clicky front buttons can be annoying if you're in a quiet environment, I guess, like home or a gaming room or somewhere, and you don't have like the massive earphones on or something. And the sponginess of these are a little bit off-putting. I would also add that some of these buttons, like what would be the X on a PlayStation controller, they are a bit where you need to really push them down to register. If you just lightly tap it, it's not going to do anything really, and little bits like that can be annoying. So I would say about 9 out of 10 overall for this controller. If you're looking for a cheap controller just to mess around a few games with, is worth buying. If you're looking for like a premium controller like the, what was it called, the Microsoft Xbox One Elite controller with the paddles on the back and stuff, this is probably not the one to go for, although it does have the extra buttons on the front that you could map for turbo button, and there's like a plus and minus button and a circle. If you wanted to map them to what you wanted them to be, no reason why they wouldn't work, I guess, but yeah. I would say overall, I give this controller 9 out of 10. It's good for a budget build possibly. As I say, you get other colours as well. I believe the grips on the bottom, I've seen someone online take them off quite easily, I think. So if you're modding controllers and stuff, changing colours, probably quite easy. A lot of the buttons on it seem quite standard, so if you bought like the Xbox replacement buttons, you could probably configure those how you like and replace the button skins, I guess. So yeah, overall, as I say, 9 out of 10, a thoroughly good controller. Few little things there. The sharpness of the back triggers, I don't know if that's this controller only or like the general build, but they do seem to be quite sharp along the back at a certain bit underneath. So maybe you need to be careful of that if you have very delicate fingers. You might cut if you slice like suddenly or something like that, maybe. Something to look out for. But yeah, overall, I'd say worth the cost. So that'll end this review. And so, yeah, as always, I wish everyone a good day, I guess. And until next time, Johnny.